All right, what's going on YouTube? My name is Tyler Self, and today I'm bringing y'all a quick video featuring the complete beginner's guide to M1 Finance. Roll the intro. All right, and just like I said, in this video, I'm gonna be showing you guys exactly the complete beginner's guide to utilizing the M1 Finance brokerage for your own investment accounts. So real quickly, before we dive into this, if you don't know what M1 Finance is, it is essentially an investment brokerage where you can essentially invest in the stock market and pursue all sorts of different goals in terms of reaching your financial and retirement goals. And in this video, I'm gonna be going through the iOS app on my phone, so you can feel free to download that and create an account so that we can go ahead and get started. You can do all the exact same stuff I'm gonna be doing in this video from the application on the desktop version as well. So if you're already watching this video on your computer and you have another tab opened, you can kind of follow along as we're going from tab to tab, and it should kind of transfer back and forth relatively easily. So first things first, if you don't already have an account with M1 Finance, I would highly recommend clicking the link down in the description box below. It will actually give you $30 completely free just for creating the account so that you can kickstart your investments. All right, what I'm actually gonna do really quickly is open up M1 Finance on my phone. You can see this is actually my phone. I have the calculator app opened just as proof. I'm gonna type some numbers in. And the reason for that is obviously so that you can follow along with me as I am doing this. But without further ado, let's go ahead and open up M1 Finance. And this is kind of the initial screen that you will have once you have already kind of created everything and gotten everything set up. This is the initial invest screen that is defaulted to show up. But the first thing we're gonna do before we do anything else is actually we're gonna go ahead and smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really helps me out with making these videos and providing this content to you guys. No, that's just a joke. But really quickly, I'm gonna go ahead and dive deep and in depth to all of the different tabs you can see at the bottom, as well as all of these tabs here. Go ahead and click on the top left button here. It's those three yellow lines. Click on those and you can see here we have our different accounts. You may not have one of these set up yet, so if you need to actually create an account, this is what you will do to do so. Go down to the very bottom and all that you will see there is the add an account button. We'll go ahead and click on the plus right there. And now here are some different options that we have to do. And this will completely depend on what your investment goals are. I will tell you personally, I have two accounts open right now in M1 Finance. I have an individual account, which I use as my dividend portfolio, where I have all of my dividend yielding stocks. And in addition to that, I also have a Roth IRA with M1 Finance. So you can see here, they have some other interesting accounts as well, including the trust account. You can actually open up a trust account for your trusts, or they have different types of retirement accounts like a SEP IRA. You can roll over a 401k into it. You can create a traditional or Roth IRA account, whatever you want to do there, totally fine, as well as they offer joint investing. And then at the very bottom, you see that custodial account. And the custodial account is essentially an account for your children, or if you are a minor, you can create what is that custodial account. But for the purposes of this video, we're gonna be working out of an individual account because that is probably one of the most common accounts that you will see, and it's just really easy to work with. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna click on the individual investing right here, and you can see the account type. We have individual, and you can click the edit button and adjust the name of the account if you'd like. And you can see if you scroll down, there are all of these different disclosures. I would encourage you to go ahead and look through as many of those as you feel necessary. I personally have already done that, so I'm not gonna get into that right now. Then once you do, you'll scroll to the very bottom and you'll hit that confirm button. You can see it says by clicking confirm, you acknowledge and consent to the terms and conditions outlined above. So again, at your discretion, if you want to look through each and every one of those, totally your call. But obviously, since I already have an individual account set up, I'm not going to be doing that. I am going to just click out of that. All right, so now that we have our account set up, you can see right now it's just kind of a blank screen. That's what you will see on your end. On my end, obviously you have my investments that I have. And what we can do from here is we'll click again on that top left button, the three little lines. You can see underneath our individual account, there are all of these different tabs. You have the portfolio tab, which essentially is just the almost home dashboard, whatever you would want to call it. You have obviously the general performance over various different time ranges. You can see I have mine set right now as all, but you can do a year, a quarter, month, week, or day. And underneath that, you can see the passive income pie, which is the personal pie that I am using. We'll get into pies a little bit later in this video, so don't worry about that. But essentially what the pie is, it's how I have allocated my funds. But again, we'll get into that in just a moment. And if you scroll to the left, it gives you kind of a more detailed version of everything. So it tells you, your total gains, your returns. Right now I'm looking at about a 32% return in the entirety of my portfolio, which is super exciting considering I just started about a month ago. You can see the market gain, the net cash flow, which is essentially just your contributions, whatever. The total gain, which is your market gain as well as dividends. Yeah, that's about it for that. And if you scroll up, you have the deposit option here as well as your cash balance. Your cash balance is of course the money that you've put into your account but have not yet invested. And one of the things that I really like about M1 Finance is they actually offer a feature called Auto Invest. And you can see it says turn on Auto Invest to invest any amount that exceeds $25 of your minimum cash balance. Obviously you can see you can set your own minimum balance. I just put mine at 0 because I want to constantly be investing every chance that I get. I don't really want money just sitting in the account. I want money to be invested in the account. So that's why I have that at 0. But this auto invest feature goes hand in hand with their pie feature, which we will cover a little bit later in this video. Underneath that, you have upcoming trades. So once you start buying stocks or allocating your funds through pies, obviously right now, my money is just sitting in the cash balance because I deposited it after this next trade window at the very bottom. So now it says 51 buys. You can view the details and it tells you exactly how much of your money will be invested in each of these. So now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next tab, which is the activity tab. This will show you basically a detailed rundown of all of the activity within your account. So you can see in the past like 2 weeks, I've been kind of going ham with this thing. You can see I've been doing a lot of buys. I've really been trying to just throw money at this portfolio so that it can grow as quickly as possible. But now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the next tab, which is the holdings tab. Now this tab is essentially just an overview tab that shows you exactly everything that you're invested in. It shows you the performance, so you can see a lot of my stocks right now are actually in the red, but I am okay with that. That's why I'm actually throwing a lot of money into this portfolio right now. The holdings tab, I don't really see that often. And now you can see the funding history, which again is kind of just an activity sort of history there. And last but not least is bank connection. So this is important. It shows you exactly which bank account that you are connected with. You can see I have my interest checking account connected, and it tells you your total portfolio value as of the current date, as well as you have the withdraw or deposit options available to you. That is about it for the invest tab. Now we're gonna go ahead and go to the next tab, which is the spend tab. Now the spend tab essentially is just a plug for their premium service, which is M1 Plus. You can see if you click on unlock, it shows all these different features. It does give you some more freedom in terms of the smart transfer options, but honestly, we are going to go ahead and skip that because I haven't used it ever and I don't really plan on it as of the time of making this video. So the next tab we're gonna go into is the transfers tab. Now there is a lot of power that we can do within this tab. So obviously you can see it gives you a brief activity of all of the recent activity within your portfolio. You can see I've been transferring pretty consistently throughout every week to my various portfolios. And you can see at the very top, you have your M1 total, which is the total amount of all of your M1 accounts combined. So you can see right now, I'm kind of broke. But there's hope, and within these videos that I'll be making on this channel, I will be constantly throwing money at this portfolio because I believe that this will really allow me to build my wealth and ultimately achieve the life that I desire and want. And then next to the activity tab, you have what are called rules. And what rules are essentially scheduled deposits to your accounts. So you can see I have 4 total schedules right here. I have 2 to my Roth IRA, and then I have 2 to my individual account labeled DRIP. You can see I'm trying to do weekly right now, weekly amounts. And you click into one of them. So I'll click into this one here, which is $55 weekly going to my DRIP account. You can see the frequency is weekly. The day of the week I chose is Tuesday. And yeah, that's basically it in terms of that. That basically is automated. So every single Tuesday, I will be investing $55 from my checking account into my individual account. Then you can see also, I have it down here set up where I do $65 on Fridays. Again, weekly. Every single week, I contribute $65 on Fridays specifically. Now, why do I have 2 separate times throughout the week? Why don't I just set it up for maybe 1 reoccurring a month? And the reason that I do twice a week is for a concept called dollar cost average, which I will make a video about that in the future. But essentially what dollar cost average is, if you're constantly throwing money at the stock market, whether it's going up or going down, you will average in the middle of that. So if you buy when it's further down, it will level out because you're also buying when it's higher up, if that makes sense. So that's why I choose to invest that way. Everybody chooses to invest differently. And keep in mind, this video is not by any means investment advice. I am just telling you what I personally decide to do with my own investments. But now let's go into how to create one of these schedules. So what we're gonna do is click on Move Money. So we'll click on Move Money. We have 4 different options here. Only 3 if you are a free-to-play member, if you are not a subscriber to M1 Plus. So we have the one-time transfer option, which is obviously for just transferring one amount. That's what I just did this morning, which was the $250. And then you have the reoccurring transfer tab, which is what we're gonna be going into here in a moment. And then we of course have the account transfer, which you can roll over your 401k, transfer your securities or whatever else. Basically just taking something from one brokerage into another. So we are going to create a reoccurring transfer today. We are going to go from, and we're going to do external. We're gonna click on the bank of our choice. You can see we're gonna click on the interest checking account, which is linked with my DRIP portfolio. So we'll click on that. And then you're gonna go to your DRIP portfolio or whatever you named your portfolio. Now the amount, you can do whatever you'd like, but there is a minimum transfer amount of $10 within an individual account. So we're gonna go ahead and just do $100. We'll click on continue. Frequency. Now this is really cool. We have different options here. We have week of month, we have weekly, bi-weekly, and then of course we also have monthly as well. We're gonna go ahead and do a weekly contribution of $100. And the day of the week, you can do whatever day you'd like. I'm going to do Monday. And then what you do is you of course click on schedule, and that will set up your reoccurring transfers so that you can automate your investment process. So long as you have money in your checking account, it will invest money for you. So you don't even have to lift a finger. Obviously I already have mine set in stone, so I'm going to get out of that. And that is about it for the transfers tab. Next, we're gonna go to the borrow tab. Again, this is basically just a feature of M1 Plus. So we're not gonna be doing that today, unfortunately. I will have a video coming out in the future kind of analyzing M1 Plus and if you should consider it for your investments. I won't lie to you, I've never used this feature and I don't really plan on it. I'm not a huge fan of debt personally. That's just my thing. I really believe in kind of staying free from debt the best that you can, with an exception of your home mortgage. I'm still working on getting out of debt myself as I'm making this video, but a reason that you would want to consider doing something like this would be if you wanted to obviously do things like start a business where you require a lot of capital, handle some form of emergency. If you don't have a proper emergency fund set up, you can actually use part of your investments and use that as leverage to cover your emergency. Again, I don't really recommend this. I recommend everybody have an emergency fund in some capacity. You can do the Dave Ramsey method, or you can do all sorts of different methods. But choose your method of madness and stick to it, because having an emergency fund is a lifesaver. It's one of those things that you just don't need it until you need it. And when you need it, you gotta have it. I would encourage each and every one of you watching to, at a bare minimum, have $1,000 saved up in case of emergencies. But that's about gonna cover it for the borrow tab. Obviously, you can click on learn more to learn all that is included within that, but I'm going to not do that in this video. Next tab, and this is arguably one of the most important tabs, this is the research tab. So you can see generally this first page just shows a lot of different information about the stock market as a whole. It shows the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, and the NASDAQ all in the same place. You can see exactly how they're doing. Underneath that, there's just all this different news that's going on. You also have the option, if you want, you can look up the information regarding a specific stock. So let's say I want to look up Apple. So we'll go ahead and input the ticker symbol for Apple, which is AAPL. We'll click on Apple, and then of course we can see everything within Apple. Now I actually have some holdings within Apple and it's done pretty good for me, but you can see as of right now they're actually down a little bit. But this allows you to essentially do proper research on stocks. They allow you again to see the news for that specific stock. You can see Apple earnings, what to look for, all this stuff. You can see information. It has a $2.5 trillion market cap, which is huge. And the tab next to that is the price history. Now this will give you the 52-week range, so you can see the low and the high, so you can kind of gauge if it's a good time to buy, where the stock's actually at in the past 52 weeks. As well as you have some really interesting information underneath that, which is the 1, 2, and 5-year returns on the particular stock that you're looking into. So you can see right now, Apple is in pretty good shape. They have a good solid track record, and essentially they are looking pretty good right now. You also have the option to add the stock to your watch list, and you can go into your watch list and look at different stocks. So if you see a stock that you are interested in investing in, but it doesn't seem like the right time to go ahead and invest in that stock, you can add it to what is your watch list. And essentially what that will do is allow you to go and keep a solid eye on all of the stocks that you want to look at and consider investing, but maybe it's just not the right time yet, or you don't have the money to do so. So that's where you would utilize a watch list. And then of course the tab next to that is the profile. It tells you essentially a brief rundown of the company. It gives you their website, tells you the type of stock it is, the CEO, how many employees, it gives you the earnings per share, and just a lot of really good information there. We're gonna go ahead and get out of that. We're gonna click on the research button again. And if you look at the very bottom, that is the watch list tab. So once you click add to my watch list, all of the stocks that you click on will be shown in that tab. But next we have the stocks tab, which again just shows basically any stocks that you want to look into. You can type in any company that you want. If you want McDonald's, you just start typing in, like you could look up Lowe's. You just type in any stocks you want, and then you can conduct your research there forth. So you can see Microsoft is another company that I currently hold within my portfolio. Again, just taking a brief look, you can see, Microsoft shares are rising, all of that. The 52-week range, actually the current price, which is up 4%, is exceeded that 52 high range, which is super, super good. But that could mean that at some point it's gonna start dropping back down. So that's something to look out for. But you can see they have a really solid payout ratio. And you can see Microsoft, it has a $2.3 trillion market cap. Again, super huge, just like Apple. And it's got almost a 38% price to earnings ratio, which is pretty good. And obviously the dividend is also really good for this particular stock. But again, a brief description. It tells you which market it's in, the CEO, how many employees, the shares outstanding, and so forth. We'll go ahead and get out of that. Next, we have the funds tab. Now this will give you essentially all of the funds that you are looking for, any type of ETFs or index funds, anything like that that you're looking into, you can find that underneath that tab. Next, you have an option called expert pies, which is essentially similar to like a mutual fund from an investment company. You can see it has different goals here: plan for retirement, responsible investing, income earners, which is what I prefer. It's more of a dividend-based income strategy. It just has different types of strategies that you can use and different pies that you can add to your portfolio if you so choose to do so. I have never used one of these and I don't really ever plan to. Personally, nothing against them. I just like to really do my own thing and do my own research, and I like to feel like I'm in control of the situation. I like to just do my own investing rather than have somebody else do it for me or design it for me. So I design my own portfolios because that's just kind of what I like to do. So next to that, we have my pies. Now this is super, super, super important. This, you can see used in a portfolio. There are all these different pies. And then you can see unused in a portfolio. But essentially what a pie is it is an allocation method. So when you are investing in any other portfolio, you have certain allocations. People may try to target like 70% in stocks, 20% in bonds, 10% in REITs, you know, whatever else. And essentially it's just directing which money goes where. Now M1 Finance has taken a very, very unique and interesting approach with this, with their pies. So essentially what a pie does, I'll just go ahead and open up my passive income pie, which of course has a whole bunch of other pies inside of it. I have 20% of my pie into another pie, which has bonds, and then 20% into another pie full of real estate REITs, 14% in finance, 12% utilities, healthcare, consumer, etc. And once you put money into your account through the transfers tab, you actually have to have your portfolio connected to a pie. So you can see how it says used in portfolio, for example. So my drip pie, you can see I got 52 different holdings, 3% dividend yield, 0.03% expense ratio, which is pretty good. But yeah, let's say that you want to actually create your own pie for your portfolio. You're gonna go ahead and click on the plus at the top right of the screen, and it says build a pie. So we'll click the plus. Now you have different options. I'm just gonna go through and pick a few different stocks that I like. Let's do realty income. Let's do cat. What else? I'm blanking. Let's say we want some Tesla in there, for example. Whatever else. JP Morgan, Visa, Johnson Johnson. Let's say we want to invest in Walmart, Home Depot, and Disney. Why not? We'll call that good for now. And if you want to invest in a fund also, you can do so. So let's say that we want to put a little bit of our fund into the S&P 500. So we'll go ahead and add that, as well as we will do the Vanguard Total Bond Market. So we'll go ahead and throw some bonds in there to kind of level out our investments. You can see right now we have 13 slices of our pie. We think that's good for now. 13 is a good number to start with, we'll say, and we'll go ahead and click the done button. Now you can see we have our nice little pie chart here with all of our stocks. And what we're gonna do is actually adjust the percentages of this pie to create a proper allocation. So let's say we want a more conservative approach with this investment. We're actually gonna go ahead and go to the VOO, which is the S&P 500. It's Vanguard's index fund for the S&P 500. And we're gonna go ahead and adjust that. We're gonna say we want about 45% of our portfolio in the S&P 500. So you can see now at the top, it says we have a total of 137 out of 100%. Obviously, your portfolio has to equal 100%, otherwise you cannot invest into it. I'm gonna go ahead and just customize this really quickly. 10% there and that. Let's change that to 3%, drop that to 3. Bonds we'll put on 10%, drop that to 5. Walmart will drop to 5. Microsoft will do 4. JP Morgan 4. Johnson & Johnson will do 2% there. Home Depot 4, and we'll change Tesla down to 8. So you can see once we change Tesla down to 8, that little message at the top goes away that tells you, you need 100%, which means if there's nothing there, you are at 100%. So we're gonna go ahead and click on save. You can see it says creating pie. Pie name, we'll just do M1 tutorial pie. Then, you know, description for YouTube video, whatever. Doesn't matter, you can type whatever you want, it really doesn't matter. We'll go ahead and click on save. And now let's say that we want to put our actual pie into our investment account. So we're gonna go to the invest tab over here. We're gonna go to the drip, you'll click on your portfolio. And now we're gonna go to manage pie here at the bottom. We're gonna click on that. Then we're going to go to edit pie. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna click the plus right here. We're gonna go scroll to the right until you see my pies. And we're gonna scroll down until we see our pie that we've created. So we'll click on that. Go ahead and click on add to pie and we'll click done at the top. This will default to 100%, but since I already have a pie set up, obviously it has to be adjusted again. So I would just put this at 100% and put this at 0, which it says will remove. So then you would click save and then that action would take place the following trading day. So at 8:30 the following business day, it would take place. Obviously, I'm not gonna do that because I've already done that. So for the purposes of this video, we'll just go ahead and exit out of that. And one thing I forgot to mention about the auto invest feature that you can see again through the invest tab in your portfolio, you scroll up, you see the auto invest. M1 Finance has taken a very unique approach with this. So you click on your pie or whatever, you can see some of my holdings are doing good, some of my holdings, most of my holdings are not doing so good. But now what'll happen when I actually buy my holdings is you can see, I click on that, you can see how it says like bonds is 20.1%. And you can see my goals to the right of that, which are 20, 20, you can see my finance tab is a little bit below where it's supposed to be. So is my utilities, my healthcare, yada yada. Through the auto invest feature of M1 Finance, it's taken a very unique approach in terms that it will actually buy shares to bump up whatever stocks are struggling up to the level that they're supposed to be. Let's say that the amount of bonds that I had was like 25% or something like that. And I didn't really need any more than that. It would stop putting money into my bonds tab and it would start putting money into other tabs that are not quite where they need to be. And this is really good. And what this essentially is doing is allowing you to buy stocks at somewhat of a discount because, like I said, it's trying to rebalance that portfolio and get it where it needs to actually be. But let's say that these numbers are way off and you really just need to kind of get something figured out because the numbers are super, super off. And you want to sort of get everything right back where it needs to be. We'll go ahead and click on manage pie and we have the rebalance feature. Now what the rebalance feature will do, of course you can see it will buy underweight slices and sell overweight slices to bring everything back to where it needs to be. Now, you have to be very careful with rebalancing. I would not recommend doing it that often because there are a lot of tax implications that can arise when you're buying and selling that frequently. So you just have to kind of be careful. You can click on the learn more about rebalancing tab there to actually do some proper research there. But generally speaking, I try not to rebalance. I just utilize the auto invest feature and that essentially kind of gets me where I need to be most of the time, especially considering I invest so frequently. But yeah, that's about gonna wrap it up for this video. I realize this has been a super, super long video. And if you guys are still here right now, I would like to say a personal thank you to each of you watching this video. I know it's been a long one, but I hope that this has been very impactful for you and kind of giving you the confidence that you need to really start your investment journey. If you have any questions that were unanswered in this video, or if there are any concepts that you still feel a little bit weird about or don't really know, then feel free to drop your question down in the comment section below. I generally try to respond to most of my comments here on YouTube, and I really just like to help people. So if you are confused about something, please drop a comment down below and I will answer it as soon as I possibly can. But anyway guys, that is gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to give it a fat thumbs up. Again, it really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm, yada yada yada. Anyway, like always, my name has been Tyler Self, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace out.